All right, so for my topic on European history, I got the subject of the Enlightenment. So, in introduction, the Enlightenment was a period in history between the 17th and 19th centuries, and a lot of ideas developed during that time that have impacted our world today, including political, new social codes, science, religion, and philosophy were among the ideas that changed during that time. So, it sort of came out of Renaissance humanism. With ideas by people like Isaac Newton, which were real contributors to the Enlightenment. But even scientists from the scientific revolution really contributed to the early Enlightenment, including Galileo and Kepler, which were both pretty important to the scientific aspect of what the Enlightenment was. So religion was a big thing impacted during the Enlightenment. There were people like David Hume who believed that there is nothing but reason, no religion, God is a superstition. And then deism was developed during the Enlightenment era, which is the idea that God sets up the world as a clock and lets it run down and doesn't involve himself in humankind. Religious concepts disproved that were originally the norm. They're no longer the norm now. And the Protestant church really changed a lot with new denominations coming out and a lot of arguments about who God really was. Science was another big thing impacted. So new inventions like the thermometer, and even Ben Franklin, he's considered a Enlightenment inventor, even if he isn't European. But his invention of the bifocals is considered a Enlightenment invention. Scientific lectures became normal, and that started to educate the public about science. And new discoveries were really important, like Halley's Comet and Uranus, and particularly what Lavoisier found out, which was that oxygen exists and that it's also a compound of hydrogen and water. And that was a big, important thing that has affected science a lot today. Philosophy was another big thing impacted primarily with the philosophers, which were a group of philosophers during the Enlightenment that were the real important people that promoted new ideas. So the encyclopedia carried many of these ideas and included people that were philosophers are Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Immanuel Kant, and Adam Smith with their ideas of free trade, manufacturing, absolutism, practicality, domesticity for women, and Kant's attempt at restoring rationalism were all ideas that these people promoted during the Enlightenment time. So these are important people of the Enlightenment. I'm going over two more in the next slides. Voltaire was an important Enlightenment philosopher. He was known for his dislike of rulers and aristocrats. He liked the simple folk, however, and he didn't like the idea that church and state are sort of the same thing in some sense, like having a pope be the leader of the church yet involved in politics at the same time didn't fly so well with him. So he didn't like that at all. And his big important contribution was that he promoted the big ideas of freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And they went into the USA's Bill of Rights, actually, which is a big thing, for our country today. So we can have him to thank for those. Diderot, another important one. He was an editor, writer of the encyclopedia mentioned before. He used to follow Voltaire, but then he went away from that and followed atheism and materialism. And atheism, as you probably know, is the belief that there is no God. That was one of the things that he worked on. But like Voltaire, he was still similar in the idea that there is nothing but reason. Later impacts on the world, there were new Protestant denominations that came out. Absolutism and rationalism have been really, really important in today. And like I said before, oxygen being discovered by Lavoisier has really affected science today because that was a big breakthrough in what's in the field of science. And it's really changed our scientific ideas today. And these are my sources. Thank you for watching.